19 years ago, on October 24th, 2005, my wife and my now 31-year-old son were in that unit right over there, these two duplex rentals, and our dog. And we were hunkered down in the bathroom, pretty much scared for our life. Why? Wilma was coming through Delray Beach as a Category 3 hurricane, and it was pretty terrifying.
The most significant damage was around the lake and from Fort Lauderdale to West Palm Beach. These cities were on the right side of the track, where typically we see the most damaging wind.
Hey there, I'm Palm Beach's Paul, your local realtor and guide to South Florida living. Welcome back to my channel. So that's right, 19 years ago in that very spot, a young Palm Beach's Paul and my wife and my son, who was in middle school at the time, were hunkered down as a Category 3 hurricane was blowing across from the Gulf, the west side of Florida, coming back around to the east side. And boy, was it terrifying. That was the last major storm to hit Palm Beach County 19 years ago. We've had a few storms since then, but nothing quite like Wilma. And it was pretty terrifying. I will tell you, we were really nervous in that bathroom hiding. So I'm coming to you over here from East Delray, and I'm actually in our old neighborhood, and boy, has this neighborhood changed. I mean, there's like multi-million-dollar homes all over the place now. You can see we got some of the older ones. There's still some older apartments left, but you'll see when I come up here that all these old ones have been changed out for like million-dollar mansions. And that's been going on in Delray for a while now. Matter of fact, I showed a $4 million townhouse that I just went by over there to one of my viewers, and it's now sold. They didn't like it, but someone did. But I mean, look at these behind me. These are all beautiful, newly built, I'm sure all with impact windows and all the latest hurricane codes compared to a lot of these homes that were built back in the 60s and the 70s. And we're very close to the beach. My wife and I used to ride our bikes from here with a backpack and ride over the George Bush Bridge and maybe 2 miles, and we were over on Delray Beach. And so it was really fun back then. And with all these newer built homes with impact windows and hurricane impact garages and all the new construction, I'm sure these people feel pretty safe riding out a hurricane. We didn't in our little place back there because you can see it's old. So today's video is going to be about where is the safest place to ride out a hurricane in the state of Florida. I'm going to give you guys a breakdown of some of the most dangerous places to live. And if you stick around to the very end, I'm going to tell you the 3 most costly and deadliest hurricanes to ever hit the state of Florida. And I also have some more information about some other storms. So let's get started. What a beautiful view, isn't it? All right, so let me clarify. I'm not talking about the safest place to ride out a storm in a house. I'm talking about the safest areas in the state of Florida. Basically the places that get hit the least by hurricanes. So we're gonna break it down from the ones that get hit the most all the way to the area that gets hit the least. And then we'll give you some more information. I'm always trying to think of some content for you guys, and I thought this would be kind of important because I know a lot of you are looking to move down here and you're looking at different parts of Florida as far as where you want to live. So, depending on what part of Florida you're looking to live in, I'm sure you'd like to know how often that area is prone, or at least how often it has been hit by hurricanes, right? We never know when they're going to hit. But this is going to be a video about places that have been hit and how many times and some of the costly storms that hit those areas. Hurricanes are a pain in the backside. And I'm going to tell you, I forget sometimes that not just adults watch my videos. I actually have families who watch my channel. I have a family who said, Paul, we watch your videos every Sunday morning as a family. And I have some other people who watch my videos that are family. And one of them, by the name of Goose, that's not his real name, but that's the name we're going with. Goose reminded me that I shouldn't say certain words in my videos. And last week in my hurricane video, I kind of made a comment about people who tell people, living in Florida is, blah, blah, blah. And he said, those aren't nice words to say. And Goose, you're right. They're not nice words to say. And I need to remember that because I'm not just talking to adults. My videos are open for anyone to watch. And so kids might be watching this. And so Mr. Paul is going to work on that and be more conscious about my choice of words. So, all right. So if you want to live in Florida and you don't want to worry about hurricanes, a whole bunch, the safest place to live is inland Florida, closest to the Georgia border. So this part of Florida doesn't have the Atlantic or the Gulf Coast, and you're pretty much way up there in the top, in the middle of the state. Now, you're not completely safe because tornadoes are, come from hurricanes. Anytime we're under a hurricane warning, you do have to worry about the threat of tornadoes. But for the most part, that part of Florida is pretty hurricane safe, and they still may throw hurricane parties, but I don't think they're as worried about buttoning up their house and boarding everything and shutters as people down here in my neck of the woods are. So the number one, I guess, safest place for the least chance of getting struck by a hurricane would be the Florida, middle part of Florida, up towards the Georgia border. All right, so if you want to live there, now you don't get all the benefits of this, right? The beautiful beaches and all that, but you're not too far from Panama Beach. I'm sure you can get there in a couple hours. All right, so the next area that's prone to hurricanes, but still relatively safe, is going to be Northeast Florida. So all of you Jaguar fans, all those up in Jacksonville, you're pretty safe. Over all the years of hurricanes, you've only had 26 that have hit you. So Northeast Florida is a pretty safe place to live, pretty good chance that you're not going to get hit by a hurricane. In all the years, 167 that they've been rating hurricanes on the Saffir-Simpson scale, they've only had one Category 3 and 26 hurricanes in total. So basically, they get a hurricane every 6.5 years, if you look at it that way, which is pretty good compared to some of the other areas of Florida that we're going to talk about. So you still got the beautiful beaches up there and the St. Johns River and all the areas up there, but pretty safe from hurricanes if you live in that part of Florida. All right, they're going to keep progressively getting worse, so let's find out where the next one is. Well, lucky me. Guess who landed on number 3? That's right, Southeast Florida, right where I live. So, Southeast Florida is pretty prone to hurricanes, like I had told you they were. We have had a total of 49 hurricanes, including 16 that were Category 3, which Wilma was, we talked about earlier, all the way through 5, which Andrew was. So we're pretty prone to hurricanes here. We're right there. The water's warm, the Gulf Stream's right offshore, and we've been lucky, honestly. That's why I keep saying this year is going to be scary from what they're predicting, because we've been pretty lucky. But yeah, Southeast Florida is a little risky, but you get all the beautiful beaches. You just also have the risk. Up here when Wilma hit, and a lot of these windows were blown out, and this area wasn't in the best of condition. And further inland in Delray Beach, one of the buildings, the whole wall collapsed from this one antique store, the big glass. So there was damage everywhere. Like I said, that was a Category 3, and it was pretty darn scary. So if you're looking to move down here into Palm Beach County, Boca Raton, Delray Beach, West Palm, those areas, that is the Southeast Florida area, and we are prone to hurricanes. So it's something you guys got to think about. I've lived here over 30 years. I've been through 3 of them myself, so with minor damage, but it is a fact of living here. So, all right, let's keep moving up the scale. I need to get in the shade. I'm gonna go sit up here under this cabana. I'm melting out here. All right, guys, so, when you come down here, and Florida's beautiful. We're talking about the hurricanes, but, still people love coming down here, like
Rich.
And Terry.
Rich and Terry. I happen to find a couple of my viewers who saw me filming
Big
up
fans.
here.
Big fans.
and turn around and I hear my name, and then I was like talking to them. So you guys are down here for making sure the camera's on. Good. It's the mic's on. I mess up sometimes. So how long are you guys down here for?
A week, 8 days.
You
leaving Saturday.
from the Northeast area?
Yeah, Long Island.
Long Island. You hear that? Where do you think you're straight in? From Texas, y'all. So how was the beach today?
Beach was gorgeous today.
See,
the weather
guys?
was unbelievable. Water was, I think, almost 85 degrees.
Nice.
It
So
was nice.
see, like, look, they're smart. They're getting here now before the hurricanes come. Then they'll leave, and then they'll be going, "Hey, Paul, how you doing down there?" "I'm hanging on, man." Well, I'm glad you guys said hi, and I'm glad you're enjoying Delray Beach. It is a beautiful beach. It's a beautiful town. And you little Johnny Brown's, right?
Yes.
Johnny Brown's all the way.
And they did
fans.
a little Jupiter too, the Guana Bananas up there, one of our favorite places to eat. And I know my wife loves that. So cool, man. Well, you guys have a safe trip. Enjoy South Florida. Enjoying paradise, right?
Thank
And
you.
don't forget Funky Biscuit.
Funky Biscuit, yeah. I need her. She's my sidekick. You're gonna be my sidekick. We're gonna go out and hit it all. So cool, guys. Well, I appreciate
All right.
it. Enjoy.
Take care.
All right. Look at that old beautiful colonial revival home. That's the Sandaway House. It's now a nature center. They have, you see the garden. They got a lot of cool stuff inside for kids to go look at with nature, like shark's teeth and all that. And they actually have a swimming pool in the back where they have some Nerf sharks and some Jack Crevalle, some other fish, and they do feedings. But that house has been here since 1936. It's ridden through a lot of storms, and it's still here. So, Southeast Florida. But yeah, I guess they built homes really strong back then, or they just got real lucky. I don't know. I think we're all a little bit lucky. So Hurricane Andrew was my first real experience with a hurricane. I moved to Florida in 1992, and I remember that summer, and I remember them talking about a hurricane coming, and I had no experience with hurricanes until that hurricane. Now, it hit way down south in Homestead, down in Miami, so it wasn't close to West Palm Beach, but we still felt the effects of it, and we were still pretty scared and hiding because we didn't know which way it was going to come. But boy, when I woke up and looked at the news the next day, that was just devastating. Like, it looked like a bomb had gone off at Homestead. I'd never seen destruction like that in my entire life at that time. And it was pretty shocking. So that was my first experience of what hurricanes can do. And the state of Florida that I left Texas for and was now living in. Yay! My family wasn't too happy about that. All right, so we talked about Southeast Florida. Let's hop along Alligator Alley and shoot across Florida to the southwest side, because they are tied for 49 hurricanes like us, but they've had one more that was worse than us. They had a total of 17 major hurricanes, anywhere from a Cat 3 to a Cat 5. And as you know, unfortunately, not too long ago, a year or two ago, they got just smashed by Hurricane Ian, and we saw all the devastation from that storm. A lot of that was tidal surge and just flooded everything, but condos after homes were just totally flooded and ruined. That was a really, really bad storm. Now, I remember when Hurricane Ian hit, I waited a couple of weeks to go over there. I went over there to shoot a video, but also I was over there with my former brokerage because we were doing charitable work. We were helping people that were employees of the company and other people in that area by handing out diapers, food, generators, all the supplies that those people needed. And I walked around, I remember talking to some of the locals, and they didn't expect that hurricane to hit. They all thought it was going to Tampa. And they were really surprised because they'd never been hit before. Like many places, they just had never been hit. And then that storm came in and just did so much damage. So, you never know where these things are gonna go. They're not that predictable as much as we try to predict them. And we see 2 weeks of all these patterns and where the storm's gonna go and which way it's gonna blow and is it gonna wind shear down this way or that way. You just have to wait to see where the thing's gonna hit, and you have to be prepared, which is what that other video I made last week, which, by the way, if you click the link up here or at the end of the video, you can go watch that one, and it tells you about things that you need to get prepared. But yeah, you just don't know where these storms are gonna go. But yeah, talking to some of the locals, they were just blown away at the devastation from that. They'd never seen anything like that in their entire life. And I talked to a couple old dogs, guys that had grown up there since they were kids. And so yeah, Ian, man, that was a nasty storm, and it caused a lot of damage over there. Now you see those signs? That's because this area is prone to the king tides, the high tides that come in. I think that's what they're called, king tides, yeah. And unfortunately, the tide comes over high and it actually floods right over the street. So I've walked back there before. We were over here when I did one of my videos just recently. And you can see all the water and all that, but then you see all the leaves and all that, that's because the water was coming up high right in here. And you can live in a beautiful home right on the water, but you will pay the price. Mother Nature has her way. That's such a nice old neighborhood to be driving around. All right, so have you figured out where the #1 place for hurricanes to hit Florida is? I mean, if you've been following along and been looking at the map, you probably figured it out. If you haven't, then I'll tell you. So the place that gets hit with the most hurricanes, or historically has had the most hurricanes in the state of Florida, is Northwest Florida, up there near Panama Beach, up in that panhandle area along the Gulf of Mexico. Now, prior to 2018, they had only had Category 3 hurricanes, but then in 2018, a very, very deadly storm hit by the name of Michael, and it was a Category 5. Now, this part of Florida has been hit by 66 hurricanes, 14 of which were Category 3 or higher. So, man, through the history of hurricanes, Northwest Florida has gotten pummeled. Matter of fact, Northwest Florida has been hit by more hurricanes than the entire state of Texas. I think they had like 62, something like that. So just unbelievable. And like I said, Hurricane Michael, which we'll talk about in a little bit, was a devastating hurricane, causing millions and millions of dollars and lots of loss of life. So that was a tragic, tragic hurricane to hit up in that area. But that area is out of the tropic zone right down here where I'm at. So they typically get cooler weather up there, but that cooler weather, like I talked about with La Nina, which we think is going to be happening in July, that cooler weather actually strengthens the storms. Plus the regions like right there in the shallow waters right there on the Gulf, all of that makes for a very nasty, nasty place for hurricanes to hit. Yeah, so the place with the highest probability of getting hit is Northwest Florida. So there you go. There are all the zones, right, from the northeast all the way down central, going all the way down southeast, southwest to northwest, where the chances of getting hit by a hurricane are, and we're at least so far where they've been hit and the number of hurricanes. Now, as I told you earlier in the video, I was going to talk to you about 3 of the deadliest hurricanes that hit Florida. So, speaking of Michael, that is one of them. So let's talk about those 3. Now, hey, before we start talking about those deadly hurricanes, let's talk about something positive, and that would be my YouTube channel. Please be sure to like, subscribe to my channel. You know how to do that. Just click the little bell so you get notified of all the videos. You can hit the subscribe button and leave comments. That really helps me out. We're almost at 20,000 subscribers, and I greatly appreciate it. Also, there's a couple ways you guys can support me. There's always the buy me a coffee or buy me a beer, as I like to call it. That's an app where you guys can click on that and you can go buy me a coffee, an iced one preferably because it's so hot out. And then lastly, as I mentioned, I do have a membership section now. So if you guys want to be a member and see the videos before everyone else does, as well as other things where I can do some private one-on-one and private live streams and things like that, which I'll be working on, then you can also be a part of that. So that's another way to help support the channel and help me grow. And I appreciate all the support. All right, well, let's go talk about the 3 worst storms to ever hit Florida. All right, guys, it was too hot. I couldn't take it anymore. I stopped off and got myself some gelato, my favorite, coffee flavored. All right, starting with the least out of the 3 worst hurricanes to hit Florida, it was Hurricane Andrew back in August of 1992. Hurricane Andrew was a Category 5 hurricane, and there were 65 deaths from Hurricane Andrew, and the damage was at that time about $26 billion, which in today's terms is about $60 billion worth of damage. They had sustained winds of 165 miles per hour, which makes Andrew the 9th costliest hurricane in U.S. history. I remember Andrew, like I said, I was here, I moved here in 92, and Andrew was devastating. To see the devastation down there, what happened, it literally looked like a bomb went off in Homestead. I mean, the face of the Macy's was ripped off, hotels were just, every window was blown out. It was a bad, bad hurricane, and it was still the one that everyone talks about hitting South Florida. Matter of fact, because of Hurricane Andrew, a lot of the building codes changed here in South Florida. The trusses, the way roofs were put on, the impact windows, the strength of impact windows, a lot of the building codes all changed after Hurricane Andrew. And well, made buildings and homes safer, but it did change a lot, and there's still a lot of old buildings out there, obviously, that haven't been updated. That was nice. I just had another viewer walk up. I think it was Philip. He saw me recording, walked through. You're that Palm Beach Realtor guy? So it's kind of funny when they walk up to you, but hey, that's 2 in one day. Maybe I'm getting popular. Anyway, all right, so let's talk about the next worst hurricane that hit the state of Florida, and that is Michael, which I told you guys hit up in the northwest part of Florida. Michael was also a Category 5 hurricane. It had 43 deaths, and again, it was a very deadly hurricane and a costly hurricane here in the state of Florida. Michael hit October 10th, 2018, and it caused about $26 billion worth of damage here to the state of Florida. And as I said, it had 43 deaths. There's 59 deaths throughout the United States total, but all 43 of those were here in the state of Florida, making it a very deadly hurricane. Michael had sustained winds of 161 miles per hour. Man, this gelato is so good. By the way, I did a video about this place back in July of 2019. If you go back and watch it, I think it's titled something like If Heaven Was Ice Cream or something. And I was doing a thing where I was going to all the ice cream shops here in Delray Beach. It was my early days making videos, so go have a laugh at it. It was pretty funny, but still great gelato. All right, let's talk about the deadliest hurricane to ever hit Florida. All right, so the worst hurricane to ever hit the state of Florida was the Great Labor Day weekend hurricane of 1935. That hurricane killed 468 people, although I've seen news clippings that said over 1,000, and it cost $100 million worth of damage back then, which is equivalent to about $2 billion in today's money.
Hey guys, I messed up and didn't record my ending, so wherever you are in the world, get out and enjoy paradise. I'll talk to you next week.